some point we'll get to a point where things will get easier. And you can say that with your life. You're like, man, when my kids get older, things will get easier. When they're not in diapers anymore, things will get easier. When I retire, if I could just save up enough money to retire, then things will get easier, right? If I had $1 million in sales, if we were profitable, if blah, 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 like things never get easier. If you're successful and you're growing, things will never get easier. I think it's a Puff Daddy and Biggie Smalls song that says more money, more problems, right? The bigger you get, the more problems you'll have. The more successful you are, the more problems you'll have. The problems actually never go away. What does, as an entrepreneur, the problems continue to get bigger. What happens is we get better at dealing with bigger and bigger problems. Right. That's really what has to evolve, is our ability to get better at dealing with those problems. And a lot of those problems are internal. A lot of those problems are, I'm the person, I'm the one with all the knowledge, I'm the one doing all the work. I have ego around that. Now, as we start growing, I have to be able to be humble about it and release and trust, create process, trust other people's opinions, elevate them and mentor them. And there's a progression that has to happen where you go from being the doer to where people help you do, to where you help other people do, to where, you have to run through that progression, but it's very difficult. And it never goes away. I mean, we progressed in 13 years to, I think I'm like 3 businesses and like 140 employees right now. And it's still, every day is a new problem, and it's bigger than yesterday's problem. And they might seem the same, but the approach to solve them changes and evolves. It doesn't get easier. Hopefully that doesn't cause people to close their businesses and go back to work. But it doesn't get easier. You just have to get better at solving. I'm trying to remember what the percentage is. Anytime a percentage of your activity, I believe it's any one thing becomes more than, I think it's 20 or 30% of what you do, it's time to hire somebody. So if 30% of what I'm doing is sales, then it's time for me to hire a salesperson. Okay. At the end of the day, what has to happen is that if you look at success and how to be successful, and you look at whether this is personal success in trying to become wealthy, or whether this is business success in trying to grow it, where we tend to make a lot of mistakes is we focus on the cost. We focus on the budget. You will never get rich pinching pennies. Like if you make 50 grand a year, it doesn't matter how good you are at budgeting, you will never be a millionaire, right? The only thing you can do, in our world, we say revenue solves all problems. And that's really what it comes down to, is the concept that, do I have the budget, or how do I get this done, is completely and utterly wrong. You have to figure out how to drive revenue. And so to me, I start from the revenue top down. I'm going to hire people who will help us amplify revenue. And we should do that all the time. We should constantly be hiring to amplify revenue, to increase our revenue, to drive it up, because otherwise we're going to starve. We're not going to be able to budget our way out of it. So, I mean, clearly that's number one, right? Like you should always be looking for somebody to help you move to the next level. And that moving to the next level should be rooted in your business. What is the next problem I have to solve?